Imagine this. You walk into the voting booth, ready to make your choice between two of the most powerful figures in America, Trump or Harris. You're convinced that your vote is shaping the future. But what if, behind the curtain of democracy, there's another figure pulling the strings, one even more powerful than the presidents themselves? Meet Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, a man who might just be the invisible force shaping the political landscape. How can one person have so much influence on both sides of the aisle? And more importantly, what does that mean for your vote and your future? Larry Fink isn't a household name like Trump or Biden, but he arguably wields more influence than either. As the head of BlackRock, the largest asset management firm in the world, Fink controls trillions of dollars, money that flows into governments, corporations, and even your retirement funds. But what does this mean for democracy? Stick around as we explore how your vote might be less independent than you think, and what this reveals about power in America today. Who is Larry Fink? Larry Fink's journey to becoming one of the most influential figures in finance began with a rocky start. After a promising rise as a managing director at First Boston, Fink's early career took a hit when a significant trading loss cost the firm hundreds of millions. This setback, however, inspired him to create BlackRock in 1988, along with 7 partners, with a vision to help companies manage risk effectively. Under Fink's leadership, BlackRock quickly grew to become a dominant player in the world of asset management, helping institutions and governments manage everything from pensions to real estate. By 2024, BlackRock had amassed an astounding $10.65 trillion in assets under management, AUM, more than the GDP of 193 countries. This makes BlackRock not just a financial powerhouse, but a global economic force with far-reaching influence. BlackRock's financial power is staggering, with stakes in almost every major corporation, from tech giants like Apple, Google, Microsoft, Meta, to energy companies such as ExxonMobil. BlackRock's reach spans across various sectors of the global economy. Beyond the corporate world, BlackRock also maintains close ties to the US government. Several alumni of the firm, including Brian Dees, have held key roles in both the Trump and Biden administrations, positioning BlackRock in the halls of power. This gives the firm a unique opportunity to shape economic policies, from corporate bailouts to national economic recovery plans. For instance, BlackRock played a role in the post-2008 financial crisis, advising on strategies for managing toxic assets. In many ways, Larry Fink and BlackRock have transcended the traditional boundaries of finance, operating not just as asset managers, but as architects of global economic and political strategy. How BlackRock controls the economy. Imagine having the capability to analyze and control over $21 trillion in assets. That's what BlackRock's Aladdin system does. It's not just a financial tool, it's a system that reshapes the way banks, governments, and corporations manage investments and assess risks. Initially developed in-house at BlackRock in the 1990s, Aladdin, short for Asset, Liability, Debt, and Derivative Investment Network, has grown into a global powerhouse, now relied upon by over 200 institutions worldwide. From pension funds to insurance companies, Aladdin plays a crucial role in ensuring investments are managed efficiently, but with such power comes significant responsibility. It has been likened to a genie of the financial world, capable of making or breaking markets, depending on how it processes data. What sets Aladdin apart is not just its scale, but its reach. It's responsible for monitoring and managing risks across 10% of the world's stocks and bonds. It's no exaggeration to say that if Aladdin were to face a disruption, the global financial system could experience serious consequences. Its influence is so vast that some argue it has the power to indirectly steer global markets. But what makes Aladdin even more fascinating is how it has become indispensable not only for BlackRock, but also for other financial giants like Microsoft and Goldman Sachs, both of which use this platform to manage their massive portfolios, ETFs and passive investments. BlackRock has become a major player in the world of passive investments through its popular exchange-traded funds, ETFs. These funds allow investors to buy into a collection of stocks or bonds that are meant to mirror the performance of a specific market index, like the S&P 500. While this may sound simple, the scale at which BlackRock operates is anything but. With over $7 trillion tied up in passive investments, BlackRock has quietly gained control over significant portions of the world's largest corporations, from tech giants to energy companies. One of the most powerful tools in BlackRock's arsenal is the voting power it gains from its investments. Owning shares in these companies allows BlackRock to vote on key corporate decisions, from board appointments to policy changes. For instance, through its voting shares, BlackRock has influenced major corporations on critical issues such as climate change policies and executive compensation. As passive investments grow, so too does BlackRock's ability to shape corporate governance across multiple sectors, leaving many to wonder how much influence one company should have in the global economy. Larry Fink's relationships with Trump and Biden. Larry Fink's influence spans across both Republican and Democratic administrations, making him a unique and powerful figure in American politics. During Donald Trump's presidency, BlackRock played a crucial role in the federal government's economic response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Fink's company was tasked with administering emergency lending programs by the Federal Reserve, which included purchasing corporate bonds to stabilize the market. This move reinforced BlackRock's reputation as the go-to firm during economic crises. However, BlackRock's relationship with the Biden administration runs even deeper. Several high-ranking officials in Biden's team previously held roles at BlackRock, including Brian Dees, who was appointed as the director of the National Economic Council, and Wally Adeyemo, who became the Deputy Treasury Secretary. These key appointments highlight the trust placed in BlackRock to guide the administration's economic policies, particularly in areas like sustainable investment and climate risk management. Fink's philosophy and its influence on policy. Fink has long advocated for a shift in corporate governance, emphasizing the need for companies to focus on long-term value rather than short-term profits. This philosophy of responsible capitalism is a core part of his vision, and it aligns with Biden's emphasis on sustainable economic growth. Under Fink's leadership, BlackRock has pushed for environmental, social, and governance (ESG) factors to be central in investment decisions. This shift towards sustainability has not only influenced private corporations, but also shaped policy discussions in Washington, especially as Biden seeks to address climate change. In both administrations, Fink's impact is evident. Whether advising on economic recovery during the pandemic under Trump or pushing for sustainable finance under Biden, Larry Fink has positioned BlackRock at the intersection of government and corporate power, guiding the future of American economic policy. The policies that benefit BlackRock. Under Trump, BlackRock benefited significantly from the deregulation of financial markets. Trump's administration focused on reducing financial oversight, easing restrictions on asset managers like BlackRock. For example, during the pandemic, BlackRock was tapped to oversee the Federal Reserve's emergency lending programs, granting it unparalleled access and control over the flow of capital during a crucial time for the US economy. This move not only solidified BlackRock's position as the go-to asset manager during crises, but also allowed the firm to secure favorable terms under the looser regulatory environment. On the other hand, the Biden administration has been more focused on policies aligned with sustainability and corporate governance, areas where BlackRock has been a vocal advocate. The firm's push for environmental, social, and governance (ESG) investing aligns with the Biden administration's climate and sustainability goals. Larry Fink's annual letters to CEOs urging them to prioritize long-term sustainability over short-term profits mirror Biden's policy direction on climate change and economic responsibility. By influencing the very frameworks that govern corporate and environmental responsibility, BlackRock ensures that its vast investments benefit from policies that favor ESG and sustainable business practices. Beyond the US, BlackRock's influence extends globally. The firm advises not only governments, but also central banks, such as the European Central Bank, on how to navigate economic turbulence, giving it significant sway over global financial policies. For instance, in Europe, BlackRock has been deeply involved in shaping climate-related economic strategies, including investments in clean energy infrastructure under the European Commission's REPowerEU plan. These actions ensure that BlackRock remains at the forefront of global economic policy. often directing the flow of investments into sectors that align with its long-term strategies. The corporate governance agenda. Larry Fink's annual letters to CEOs are more than just corporate memos. They set the tone for global corporate governance. Each year, Fink emphasizes the need for companies to act as responsible stewards of both capital and the environment. This push for corporate responsibility and sustainability directly benefits BlackRock's investment strategy. By advocating for ESG principles, BlackRock influences the business decisions of the very companies in which it holds significant shares, effectively consolidating its power over corporate governance across industries. While Fink's agenda may appear progressive, it also serves to further BlackRock's dominance. As more companies adopt ESG policies, BlackRock's investment products become increasingly attractive to investors who are seeking long-term sustainability and responsibility in their portfolios. This strategy ensures that BlackRock can continue to shape the direction of the global economy while expanding its influence through proxy voting at corporate meetings, where it holds substantial voting power. In both regulatory influence and corporate governance, BlackRock has positioned itself to not only benefit from current policies, but also to shape the future of global financial markets. The consequences of concentrated power. As BlackRock has grown to manage over $10 trillion in assets, the concentration of financial power in the hands of its CEO, Larry Fink, has raised alarms about the broader impact on democracy. When one company holds such significant stakes in nearly every major corporation, it wields considerable influence over both the economy and politics. The core concern is that decisions affecting millions of people are increasingly shaped by financial elites like Fink, rather than by elected officials. For example, BlackRock's voting power in shareholder meetings allows it to influence corporate policies on critical issues like climate change, executive compensation, and social responsibility. This concentration of power poses a threat to democratic principles. Voters may believe they are influencing political decisions through elections, but behind the scenes, key policy outcomes are often shaped by BlackRock, which holds sway over both the private and public sectors. The growing influence of financial giants means that many decisions about economic policy, regulation, and even environmental standards are being made by a handful of asset managers, rather than by the democratic process. The public response and criticism. The public and political response to BlackRock's influence has been fierce, with criticism coming from both the left and the right. Critics argue that BlackRock's growing power undermines fair competition and creates conflicts of interest. For instance, BlackRock's role in administering government financial programs during the pandemic raised concerns about favoritism and the lack of transparency in its dealings. Additionally, many see BlackRock's promotion of environmental, social, and governance (ESG) investing as a double-edged sword. While it advocates for corporate responsibility, some argue that this is simply a way for the firm to consolidate control over corporations by pushing policies that align with its long-term strategy. Politicians and advocacy groups have started calling for more regulation of large asset managers like BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. These firms collectively control around $25 trillion in assets under management, AUM, and there are increasing demands to limit their power. There is growing concern that their outsized influence on corporate governance, financial markets, and even government policies creates a risk of economic instability. Some have suggested that companies like BlackRock should be classified as too big to fail, meaning they would face stricter oversight to prevent them from undermining democratic processes. In the face of this criticism, BlackRock has made moves to deflect attention by promoting shareholder democracy through its voting choice program, which allows individual investors to have more say in corporate voting decisions. However, whether this effort is enough to quell the rising tide of skepticism remains to be seen. Is your vote really meaningless? When you step into a voting booth, it feels like a powerful moment, an opportunity to influence the future by choosing a leader. However, what many people don't realize is that while elections offer the illusion of choice, many critical decisions affecting our lives are made by unelected financial institution BlackRock. For example, the firm plays a role in shaping economic recovery policies, influencing which industries receive bailouts, and managing trillions of dollars in assets that impact everything from healthcare to defense. BlackRock's connections to both the Trump and Biden administrations demonstrate that no matter who is in office, the power of financial giants remains consistent. Under Trump, BlackRock was tasked with managing pandemic-related emergency lending programs. Under Biden, former BlackRock executives have held key positions in shaping economic and environmental policies. This bipartisan influence showcases that, regardless of the election outcome, BlackRock continue to steer major policy decisions, limiting the true scope of voter influence. Why does this matter? The concentration of wealth and power in BlackRock is a serious concern for democracy. When a few financial giants control vast portions of the global economy, the lines between corporate interests and public governance blur. BlackRock manages over $10 trillion in assets, wielding significant power over corporate boards and influencing decisions that affect millions of people. Such concentrated power can stifle competition and reinforce economic inequality, leaving ordinary citizens with less control over their economic futures. Furthermore, this concentration of wealth exacerbates economic inequality. BlackRock's focus on maximizing shareholder returns often means prioritizing corporate profits over social welfare or environmental sustainability. For example, BlackRock has been criticized for investing in industries contributing to deforestation and climate change, while claiming to champion sustainability. This disconnection between corporate action and public well-being raises questions about who truly benefits from these financial systems and whether our votes can really challenge such entrenched power. Is change possible? To curb the immense influence of BlackRock and other financial giants, several reforms have been proposed. One of the most significant ideas is stricter regulations on asset managers. BlackRock's ability to influence corporate and political decisions stems from its size and reach, managing over $10 trillion in assets. Regulating large asset managers more stringently, including increasing transparency and limiting the amount of control they can exert over shareholder votes, is one solution that could limit their outsized impact on the economy. For instance, asset managers could face restrictions on how they vote on corporate governance issues, especially in sectors where they hold significant stakes. Campaign finance reform is another essential tool to diminish the power of large corporations like BlackRock. The introduction of bills such as the Empower Act aims to modernize presidential campaign funding by giving small donors more influence, limiting large corporate donations, and curbing the flow of dark money into political campaigns. These changes could reduce the direct political sway that BlackRock hold over policymakers by ensuring that candidates are less dependent on corporate financing to fund their campaigns. However, implementing these reforms is not without its challenges. The financial sector is deeply entrenched in both the economy and politics. Large asset managers, through lobbying and other forms of influence, have significant power to shape regulations to their advantage. This means that reforms such as stricter regulations or campaign finance laws often face resistance, both from the industry itself and from politicians who rely on the financial backing of such corporations. Despite these obstacles, public awareness and political pressure are growing. If reforms can be pushed through, they would be a step toward restoring balance in both the economy and democracy, ensuring that power is more evenly distributed and that the influence of a few financial elites is reined in. Conclusion: as we've explored, BlackRock's unprecedented influence spans both the economic and political spheres. With its enormous assets under management, cutting-edge financial software, and connections to powerful political figures, the firm has embedded itself deeply into global governance. Whether it's steering corporate decisions or advising governments, BlackRock has become a quiet but powerful force shaping policies that affect us all. This raises important questions about the future of democracy. If BlackRock can wield more influence than elected officials, where does that leave the power of the individual vote? Are we moving towards a world where corporations, not governments, call the shots? It's a sobering thought for anyone who believes in the democratic process. But there's hope. Staying informed and critically engaged is the first step in pushing for a more transparent system. By demanding greater accountability and understanding the deep intersections between finance and politics, we can help shape a future where democracy truly serves the people, not just the powerful few. This is Economics Buddy, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, mate. Bye.